We're going to transition here and talk about some actually dangers that we're dealing with. This warmth, while it's nice from we're finally feeling what spring can offer, it's not all good. Avalanches in the western United States are tragically making this winter a deadly one. The latest avalanche fatality comes from Colorado. The body of a backcountry snowboarder was recovered after being buried by an avalanche in Mines Peak on Saturday. This area, it's known as, quote, the Fingers, a set of very steep, rocky avalanche paths. The Colorado Avalanche Information Center described this as a persistent slab slide that broke at the ground. And you see images there. The National Avalanche Center has recorded so far this season 14 deaths. Dangerous avalanches continue to threaten the Northwest as deep snowpack, high winds, and warmer weather, with that addition to heavy rain, going to create quite a load on that snowpack underneath. And that makes it very likely for backcountry travelers, as they're enjoying the slopes, to trigger these large, if not very large, avalanches. This high risk that we have already for natural avalanches, Marissa, bring you in on that. It's a science when you look at avalanches. And experts, researchers studying the nature of these things because they can prove to be deadly. The natural component is because of the climate factors that we're looking at this week.
Yeah.
Warmer air is moving in. You have around the divide in Montana and Idaho, and then farther west through the Cascades, the risk with snow levels changing, a lot of moisture, but then you also have people who are out there right now enjoying what winter offers, which is the snow.
Yeah, that's one of the best parts about being in the Northern Rockies, being in the Cascades, is to be able to off-road with the terrain and to some of the trails. But it is a high risk for many of these areas, especially through the Northern Rockies today, because of the warmer air, the rain at the higher elevations. It just loosens everything up. You do have avalanche mitigation at a lot of the resorts where they'll go and they'll actually drop explosives to shake it up before people get out there. But this is an area where you just don't even want to risk it for today. This is for portions of Montana and Idaho, as you had mentioned. Again, very large avalanches are going to be likely, at least through today.
And this is the time of year that this becomes the greatest threat. You often have most of the snowpack, which has already fallen. We still have a couple of months, though, to go if there is some cold air that infiltrates and allows for these storms to produce snow. But the fact of the matter is, with these warmer atmospheric rivers, these storms moving in from the Pacific, we do get this warming trend. So the snow melt's going to remain a concern. You had mentioned also ice jams. That's a separate but similar climate factor consequence that we look at when things begin to melt.
In spring.
Yeah, and that leads to some flooding, which can also add to some problems. We were talking about the deaths. 14 deaths so far this season. On average, there are 27 fatalities associated with avalanches. We see this sadly every season, and it's always the tragic stories. But the backcountry, it's often areas that aren't groomed, where more advanced expert skiers, snowboarders can go. But when you're in the backcountry, there are some big risks associated with at least the time of year that we're dealing with and those slightly warmer temperatures. You want to get out because it is warmer.
It is, yeah, and it's beautiful. But yeah, I think there are ways to mitigate the threat with equipment you can bring with you. But some of this is just so dangerous. Even the equipment may not be able to save your life.